Porter identified 4 possible competitive strategies in the book Competitive Advantage, published in 1985, in order to achieve a better result than the competition in the industry. These 4 strategies should be seen as a continuation of Porter's 5 forces. But now it's specifically about how a firm can achieve a favourable competitive position in the industry. The model has 2 main divisions. One of these is competitive scope, which defines the breadth of the firm's target market within its industry. The second is competitive advantage. Each of these 2 broad divisions have 2 subcategories. The first, competitive scope, is sometimes also called the industry or market. Here, a firm can have a broad target scope and serve many or all segments in the industry, or it can have a narrow target, where the firm focuses on customers only in selected segments, and where the focus can be more narrowly targeted at these customers' special needs. The 2 divisions of competitive advantage are lower costs, where the firm offers a comparable product cheaper than the competition in the industry or the selected segment, and differentiation, where the firm offers a service or a product that is perceived as unique compared to its competitors. By doing this, the firm isolates itself from industry rivalry, and consequently their customers become more loyal and less price sensitive. These 2x2 subcategories create a model with 4 fields. These are cost leadership, differentiation, and 2 focus areas, which are cost focus and differentiation focus. Each field is reviewed in the following sections. The first is cost leadership, which is perhaps the clearest of the generic strategies. In it, a firm sets out to become the low-cost producer in its industry, also called the cost leader. This can be achieved by economies of scale, where low-cost producers sell a standard product to a broad target of the industry customers. They are also very cost-effective, particularly in procurement, production, and distribution. IKEA and Walmart are examples of cost leaders. They make large profits by selling their products a little cheaper or at the level of the industry, as they have lower costs than the competition. The next field is differentiation. The firm offers something unique compared to other firms in the industry. The firm is trying to find aspects of the product that customers appreciate. It may be the product itself. We are talking about a product's technology or design that appeals especially to the customer, and the customer is willing to pay a premium for those aspects compared to the standard product in the industry. Some bike manufacturers are trying to sell bikes based on the appearance and/or additional technology accessories such as GPS. Some customers are willing to pay extra for this. Differentiation may also be the service that the firm offers both during and after the sale. Differentiation may also include the brand image of the firm or the product, which can be created through marketing. Clothing labels are an example. The products of the industry are relatively similar, but customers are willing to pay extra for certain brands. Let us now consider two examples. The first is cosmetics from Elizabeth Arden. This is a B2C product where they differentiate themselves from competitors in the industry with their brand image and how their products are displayed in stores. The second example is Caterpillar in the B2B market for construction machinery. Their differentiation is both the product itself, it has a very high quality, and after-sales service, it's easy to get spare parts. These two factors are very important parameters in the construction industry for which customers are willing to pay a premium. Now we shall review the two focus fields. Focus strategy is quite different from the previous two because it rests on the assumption that there can be a narrow competitive scope within an industry. The focuser selects a segment or a group of segments in the industry and tailors its strategy to serving them to the exclusion of others. By optimizing its strategy for the target segments, the focuser seeks to achieve a competitive advantage in its target segments, even though it does not possess a competitive advantage overall. Porter points out that it is not possible to identify a segment that can be operated separately in all industries. Once we would have said that the sale of water cannot be divided into segments, but times are changing. If it's possible to identify segments that can be operated separately in the industry, competitive advantage in the focus strategy can be divided into two fields. These are cost and differentiation, just as we saw before in the broad competitive scope field, and next we shall examine these in relation to the two focus fields. The first of these is cost focus, which exploits the differences in cost behavior in some segregated segments, bottled water instead of tap water. Even in these focus segments, the company is still cost conscious. These are the same parameters as the broad cost leader, but just focused on a separate, narrower segment. An example would be a business offering the chartering of small planes for business trips for companies. Small aircraft flight charter is a submarket of all flights. Providers must, however, always be cost conscious, otherwise customers will find another provider. The last of the four generic strategies is focus differentiation, which exploits the needs of buyers in a certain segment. Such differences imply that the segments are poorly served by broadly targeted competitors who serve them at the same time as they serve others. Porter warns specifically about the distinction between broad differentiation and focus differentiation. Focus differentiation is specifically directed to selected parts of a segment. This part segment is willing to pay more for a particular benefit. An example could be voyages of longer duration, which are targeted at elderly people who want extra service, no stairs, trained nurses to accompany them on the journey, etc. Exclusive travel is a narrow part of the total market, and the elderly are a focus differentiation within this segment. Porter warns about companies that do not have defined a clear generic strategy. They engage in each generic strategy but fail to achieve any of them. They are stuck in the middle. they possess no competitive advantage. Competitiveness is weak compared to those firms that have a clear strategy, either as cost leadership, differentiation, or focus. These firms have a clear position in relation to their customers. Cost awareness and differentiation is a contradiction in terms. Differentiation costs money. An example: airlines trying to be in all strategies simultaneously. They want to serve all types of customers, which mean they sell cheap tickets, business class tickets, first class tickets, etc. They want it all, and consequently they end up stuck in the middle. Now we shall consider an example from an industry where there are firms in all four strategies. Handbags. The cost leader could be a firm that achieves economies of scale by sourcing mass-produced identical bags in the Far East. These are then sent to Europe in containers and are sold without service through discount stores. All costs must be kept down to sell at lower prices than their competition in the industry. Differentiation. This might be branded bags like Gucci or Prada. These are bags with a brand that customers are willing to pay a high price for. Cost focus could be advertising handbags, where a firm offers to mass-produce handbags for other firms with their logo on them. It is a small part of the handbag market, but the manufacturer must keep the price low, otherwise the customer will select another manufacturer. Focus differentiation, which would be an exclusive golf bag with an exclusive brand such as Titleist. The manufacturer focus on a particular segment of the sub-market golf bags, and customers do not look at the price, but at other factors such as quality, image, etc. Now we shall review a criticism of the model. It is difficult to define an industry. The boundaries of an industry are almost always moving. The model makes no recommendations about which generic strategy in the individual industry is the better choice. The model allows for continuous positioning of our own firm's competitive advantage, as well as continuous monitoring of our competitors' position in the industry, so we do not get stuck in the middle.